Hey there, picking up from where we left off. Remember the storage area above the front seats that we gave a sneak preview of? Well, today you're going to see the finished result with a fresh twist to our van's design, our very first arch. But that's not all. I finally get my step to make climbing over easier, and we are diving into constructing our bathroom space. Being able to move from the back to the front without stepping outside is essential for us, for safety and keeping a low profile. There is loads on the plate today, so let's get stuck in.
I just want to show you guys what the final solution was over here. On the last video I spoke briefly about what I was trying to do, but after a lot of consideration, this is kind of what I came up with. So I've created a face to go over the whole area, which will make it easier to hide what's behind and have a nice finish where you're already looking at it. And also while I was building it, I originally drew a square in here, but in the end I decided to put an arch in because we didn't need the full width all the way up to the top, and Alethea really likes arches, so I thought I'd put an arch in there. She hasn't seen it yet, but hopefully it'll be a nice surprise when she does.
I really like it.
So yeah, I mean this took a long time to template. I didn't video the process because I literally went backwards and forwards to the table with the saw near enough like 100 times. God knows how many times it was, but in the end I got there. It was with a combination of so using an offcut of the headliner to pick up the shapes around here, and then I could flip that over and use it on the other side also. And just kind of that was the starting point. Anyway, let's cut the board to the biggest size you need, and get the scribes on each side, and gradually just keep cutting away at it until it was a really nice tight fit. As you can see here, it's as good as it needs to be. Follows the sealing doesn't really matter because it's going to be insulation butting up to that. But yeah, you can see down here, got a nice scribe, running nice and leveled across the top. I just wedged this timber in there underneath while I was working, because it gave me something to square off of and kind of use this to rest on it and things like that. But yeah, it's come out quite happy with how it's come out. The next thing I'm going to be doing is getting this secure, but before that I just need to put ply on the inside of this ceiling here. Once I've got the ply on, I can then screw this in, and then I'll be creating some timber faces to cover up this, and go from here all the way up to the ceiling, and yeah, some kind of strip of wood across here coming out to meet this one. Yeah, so I think it's going to look quite good in the end. Okay, so I've got a little bit further with this. I've now glued the ceiling surface on. I've got a fairly good fit. It's not perfect, it's got slight gaps on either side, but it's really hard to judge because I'm trying to follow the curve of the ceiling. Obviously, as you push something up into a curve, it reduces in size a little bit and in width, but it's okay. I'll use some mouldings to cover up these edges here, and it will be a nice finish. I've put this timber here across, screwed it into the original metal frame. This has pulled it all back to where it originally was. Eventually I'll cut this off here and here. I'm going to keep it here for the minute just to keep everything in position while I fix other pieces of timber. I also ran some expanding foam along the back edge here just to seal up the insulation where it meets the body of the van. So next, what I'm going to do is create a timber that is going to be screwed to the face of this, and it's going to come all the way up to meet the ply here. It's going to follow the curve of this ceiling all the way across, and it's also going to follow these in and out ribs here, to seal everything up and to firm everything up at the same time. So I think this is another one that's going to take a while to do because of the scribe. It's a difficult scribe, but I think it's the last difficult thing to do in this area. Now once I get that in, I can finish off all the panels and see how it all looks.
I'm gonna see what Liam is up to. Has the music pumping out? I suppose. Hey, babe.
I'm just drawing this up.
Oh,
There's
nice.
going to be a timber that comes like all the way across here,
Hmm?
and then it's going to go all the way. It's going to support the curve here.
Yeah.
So it's going to basically sit on the shelf and follow all of these
Oh, wow.
all the way across, all the way across to here, and then follow this curve all the way across to that side.
Go on.
So that it kind of closes the gaps up, so it's all sealed off,
Yeah.
and also just gives a nice finish. But the front part here will go obviously straight up to the front of that curve.
Yeah. Fucking hell, that sounds like a lot of work.
Yeah.
God.
It's all been a lot of work. I mean, let me show you this.
So many
this is
details.
temporary at the moment.
Yeah.
What I'm going to do is cut it here and here.
Yeah.
I just did it to hold it all in position. But this is what I've been making now.
Oh, that looks so cute. I was just looking at it. I really like this.
So that's going to be...
Oh my god, that looks
Like
so
that.
cutely.
You like it?
Yes, I really want an arc.
I started off as a square and I thought, no, you like the arches, so... and it doesn't really affect the headroom, so...
So good, so good.
So it's going to be like that.
Probably even better because you hide these corners a little bit more, right?
Yeah. It just took ages to make this, because look,
Oh my god.
it's not just that, it's like when you're cutting the back of it, to cut it all like that.
That's a lot of work.
Yeah,
All of these details.
yeah.
I guess this is measuring, cutting.
Yeah. The good thing about this though is it gives me a good place to fix the top for this wall here, like a nice square surface, so I can put the top timber for this wall onto this. And this is obviously a temporary thing just to hold this at the moment. But yeah, so this will be gone, and then what I'm going to do is create like, you know, something like something coming up like that. Yeah.
Hmm?
Following that, this one will cover this gap up to the curve, and then there'll be something similar on this side as well. You see? Up to this point, following into there, and then this will join. This is the point that the wall will come down for the shower. Yeah, and then I don't know exactly how this is going to work yet, but probably it'll end up putting some kind of timber somewhere on the edge of this wall that will cover up the edge of the wall. So you like this?
I love it.
Really cool, right? Okay, so just a little update to where I got yesterday. I got the most difficult parts out of the way, and you can see that the curve is now fitted, and behind there you can also see this curved piece that runs all the way across. It's going to be good enough once decorated. If you were just going for a wood finish, it probably wouldn't be good enough. But I'll show you how it is. As you can see here, it follows the curve of the ceiling. So what I had to do was use a jigsaw at a 45-degree angle to cut this curve, just to allow it to fit up nice and tight to the ceiling. And then I've used one of these tools, which I forget the name of, but it fits to the contours, so I could take the shape of this. Once I took the shape of this, all I had to do was measure between where the next one started and finished, and I could draw a sketch of everything I needed to do and transfer it onto a piece of 12mm ply. I finished off the edges with some nice little curves. It just closes up this gap, makes everything look quite good. So yeah, I think quite happy with how it's turned out, and the insulation seems to be doing quite a good job as well. It's like the difference in the heat on the metal up here compared to here is just huge. So obviously it's stopping heat coming through. So hopefully if we carry this on through all the way across the ceiling, it will make a big difference overall. Okay, so I've near enough finished this area off now. I'm just going to show you how it's ended up. Here you go. So you can see these parts I've added here, which are going to stop things falling off the shelves. I've made them so that they follow the curve of the headliner. So when that's held up properly, it will look quite nice because it follows the curve. I'm going to glue a trim, flexible trim to the bottom of this that overlaps the edge of the headliner to hide that join there. So yeah, a lot of work went into this, but it looks good and it's very functional. So you might, that's what, but then again you're going to lose the storage if you do that. But I was thinking these chairs are solid, aren't they? So maybe I could use those to support it or something.
And now if I want to go there, I mean it will make it easier, that's for sure. You know, to have
Oh, sorry, the wall one.
Oh, okay. You're stuck.
It's going to be a bit hard, but yeah.
Full of these things. But then you'll have just a step. That
Because it's a little bit high there, isn't it?
You think it's too high now?
No. Okay, so now this area is complete, I'm just going to talk you through the next step. The next step is to create the shower wall, which is going right here. Now that I've got this, it's actually helping me quite a lot because what I can do is, this is a nice flat surface to fix off of. So I've worked out where the shower area is going to finish. We're going to have a sliding door coming across here, which will slide into the end of this wall here. So down here I've got the sole plate for the wall, which I fixed earlier on. And what I'm going to do is put the first stud approximately here, 18mm back, give or take a little bit, to plant some kind of timber on the face here to hide the gap between the two walls, the wall on the back of the bulkhead and the shower wall. What I've done is use a square board off of the floor to make sure the wall and the floor and the shower wall are nice and square. So at the top of this timber, I can now measure the gap between this wall here and the stud, and I'm going to create a packer all the way through along the top here, where I can fix each stud to along the way, and that will create the structure for the shower area. Okay, so I'm ready for installing the 6mm ply panel onto this wall now. What I've done is adhere this insulation here. I put the rubber isolation strips in where I'm going to be mounting, where I'm going to be putting the screws. I've also transferred the dimensions of these onto the plywood so that I know where to put the screws into. Where I couldn't get insulation in, for example, in these sections, I did fill it up very carefully with insulation expanding foam. I didn't go crazy with it. I just put a little bit in, and just to make sure that it doesn't expand too much and cause damage to the van. But it's quite a nice solution just to get a bit more insulation in these areas. So now I'm going to install the panel and screw it in. As you can see, I've made a mistake, so this timber here is too low. It's hitting this one here, so I'm just going to have to take it back outside and drop a bit off that. Right, I've trimmed it down and it fits, so now it's time to screw it in. I just want to talk you through what I've done here. You'll see I've attached these 2x2s, little pieces with gaps in between them. This is so that I can get a solid joint on the ply panels in the corner, because I've got another one coming in at this angle, joined onto this one. And because this ply is following the contours of the van, it's not possible to get a timber to do that. So what I've done is just create bits of timber to achieve a curve, but also achieve a nice solid joint between the two panels. And at the bottom here, what I've also done is attach this batten from the other side of the ply as well. This is going to also be screwed into the floor later. The idea of this is because I'm going to be creating a shower tray, and this is going to create the high point for the shower tray. And it's always a good idea to try and get a joint between the floor panel and the wall panel, because this is a very vulnerable joint. So when you tank it and silicone it, etc., if you're waterproofing, you don't want any movement here, because movement here will eventually cause that joint to open up. Water leaks in a van are it's a nightmare, so you want to try and avoid that as best as possible. So I always recommend joining the wall panel to the floor panel